Hello and g'day. Today's video is how to cut up an Edith Holden book and how to recycle a book cover for a junk journal. If you've got a copy of the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, chances are you treasure it. Could you do it? Could you cut it up? I'm pretty sure we'll remain divided on this answer. I'll be doing a 5-part series and I'll be randomly having 2 fantastic giveaways to help you with your book binding. So you won't want to miss this series. In this video, I'm going to show you how to gut this book, which means how to take the pages out so you know how to reuse the cover to make a new cover for a junk journal. I've got 2 copies of Edith Holden here. One is the hard copy and one is the paperback. She's a little bendy. I've also got a free pullout that was in the card making magazine. Now this was my mum's. I didn't even know what I had when I first got it out. I thought this was in a box of all other papers and I got it out and I thought, oh, I love these papers. And I started using them. And then one day I picked it up and went to do something with it and I went, what? The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, the paper designer paper collection? And I went, oh my God, I didn't even know that's what this was. I'm not that observant. I didn't take any notice. I just love the papers. So when I realised it, I thought, oh, what treasures. And they're mine. So I've been using these very sparingly, but I do use them. So these are the pages that are out of the soft cover book. I've already started using this book and I make no apologies for taking this book apart to use it for my craft. If cutting a book apart upsets you, please look away. I'm okay with that. I respect that you do not do it. But please respect that I do. I love using original pages and I love the look, the feel, because nothing else is as good as the original. The feel of the paper and how it works in your journals, it just is so much better than any copy will ever do. Besides that, you've got copyright to respect as well. So I'll just show you how we are going to cut this book apart. So I'll get my surgical gear ready and I'll be back in a minute. Now this is pretty much all I need to start taking this book apart. I've broken off my blade, so I know I've got a very sharp knife, and I'm going to remove the jacket off the book. And I'm going to put that aside because I know I can use that for something else. So here's my book. The cover I will use. I'm going to use every single bit of this book with 100% respect. So I've got my hard cover and these are the end pages. This here and this here. I can't really pull them apart. I'll show you that. They're glued just there, about 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, just there. So you'll see if I try to pull them apart, you'll see where they're glued. Right, then you go to the rest of the pages and they're sewn in as signatures. So we've got a headband there and the rest are signatures. The same at the back. You've got your end pages and they're glued together. So I'll start at the back. Now, I recommend that you start at the back in case you mess up the front. If you've never taken a book apart, don't start at the front because it's the best part of the book. So start at the back. This particular book is a hollow back. And a hollow back is when you can pull out the spine. This is the spine, this is the back, and this is the front. Pretty obvious, right? A hollow back is when the spine is not attached to the pages. So if I grab something, like say if I grab my bone folder, I can actually push that. It's too big, but I can actually push something down into there. See there? It's hollow. So that's why it's called a hollow back spine. So I'm going to cut it so that I release that line of paper there to that part there. Okay, got me so far? So I'm going to use my sharp knife and I'll put it on a bit of an angle, and I'm just going to gently cut because I don't want to cut through to the spine. I'm only cutting this paper here. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to do a gentle pass first, and I've got my little finger on the book page, on the cover, and I'm just gliding it down. I've got a gentle pass first, just to see how deep I've got to go to cut. All right. Now I know how deep I've got to go to cut, but I'm just showing you so that you don't rip into it too quickly. Then put your knife in there so that it goes into the hollow, and then drag it down so that you're actually splitting that right away now. And go down into there and see how it's hollow into the spine. And I'll put that there so we can pull that all the way around. So there now is my curved spine, and the back is now released and it's nice and neat. I could tidy that up because I cut crooked. So that's what I mean by do the back first. Then we go to the front because the back is now released and free. And I'll do the same. So cut a nice shallow line right down here. And then come in. I'm going to do it laying down this time. I'm into the hollow of the back of the book. I'm not going through too far. Just until I can feel that I'm through it. Don't have your knife blade too long and just cut that away. This book was really, really easy to cut away. Some are a little bit harder, but this one very, very easy. Okay, so now we've removed the book block, which are all these beautiful creamy yellow pages. Naturally aged, as well as I would say they started off with the print of these books already a creamy colour, and over the years they've aged even more. But how great are they? So there's our book block, which are the signatures and the headband. So now we're left with this bookbinder's paper that's been glued over all of the signatures. I'm just going to peel that away. So I'm going to come off here. If the book has been really well made, you can grab that headband, or this is the, like if it's the bottom of the book, that's the base band, the bottom band, and that's the headband. Pretty much the same thing. And if you're lucky, you can peel that off all the way up. And then I'm going to come back to the headband and I'm going to pull it down. And I've pulled it away. So now I've got this absolutely beautiful paper with a headband and a bottom band to reuse either on a tag or on a snippet roll. You can cut it off. I can cut this headband off and the bottom band off, and I can reuse it on another junk journal that I've made. So I can recycle them and then use this beautiful paper with the cloth on the inside elsewhere. So that's reusable. The cover is reusable, and I get the bonus of having that beautiful label of Edith Holden on the spine. And look, I've even got a little bit of a dog ear on the corner of this book, which will add to the character. So we've got those two pieces there for recycling. Now you can see where it's been stitched in, and you can see all the separate signatures. If you're not familiar with a signature is a group of pages put together. So that's one group, one signature. Two groups, two signatures, and so on. So there are 3 signatures, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 signatures in this block. So we need to release the stitches in here to be able to get to each of those signatures, to be able to lay these pages out flat and use them as we please for our journals. Now you can see the stitches in here when you open the pages. So the objective is to be able to get to them. So I'm just going to break the first row of stitches here, and I try to do that without cutting into any of the pages. So I'm just gently cutting that, because those stitches are joining that signature to that signature to that signature. So you just need to cut that first stitch. Just do one at a time. I mean, sometimes I just take one signature off and only use it and leave all these signatures intact, and that way it stays in really good condition. And sometimes I pull every single one of them apart and just go for broke. I've got to figure out which one's that. It's a little bit mangled here. I'm just going to turn it around because I can't tell where the signature is. The glue's all mangled, so I might have to start taking it apart. So now I'm just very carefully using my thumb to come down there, and where it doesn't come apart, I'm watching my knife doesn't slip. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just letting it, I'm pushing it and letting it happen. All right, so now I can see that it is that stitch there that needs to be released. So don't cut it until you work it out. So I've now released that stitch, and I need to cut that one last thread. So now I've taken apart the last signature in the book. So when I go to the center here, you can see the stitches that were holding that one piece together, this one group of pages together. So if I go like that, you'll be able to see the stitches. So now we need to release these stitches. Sometimes I use these stitches as a feature, and sometimes I need to cut them off. So today we're going to cut them off just so that I can actually make the video run a bit smoother. So I'm just going to cut the end of each of the stitches. Just be careful that you don't pierce your paper. Maneuver it around whichever way sort of works for you. Don't force anything. Do everything carefully, you know, like lift it up and then cut it. Don't go piercing and poking and carrying on, because you will ruin your pages. Then I'm going to put my 2 pages together, and I'm going to very gently pull them away off the stitches. Very gently. Right, now them stitches are still intact and they're a bit long, so I'm going to cut them all the way off, so the next pages I pull out, they're not going to have to come off those stitches. So now I've got this double spread page to use however I like. I can use it in a journal as a page, or I can cut it up and use it as, you know, to make a tag or to cut up in little pieces for snippets, whichever comes first. So now I've cut those threads a bit shorter, you'll be able to see what it's like. So everything you do carefully and slowly. Don't go rushing and pulling at it, because that's when you will rip your pages. Again, put them together and pull it gently until you've got your separated page spread, and just sit it over there with that one. Lift again, bring them together and separate them. This one here, because it was the back, it's got the end page still intact, because remember I said it was glued here. So we're going to leave that one there like that, and later on when I get to using this page, I'll then decide how I want to deal with this. So for right now, that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'll go, oh, okay, this is going to be perfect. I might be able to bring it back and use it in this book when I make it. Now I need to show you this. As you get into the signatures a bit more, like I've taken quite a few off and I've separated them. But as you get into it a bit more, I want to show you something. Some of the signatures are stitched in, and then you'll come across one lot that is glued. So I'll show you how to deal with that. We're only cutting those stitches there. So between each signature, just carefully cut that stitch. Now I'll find the center, break the stitches like I showed you before. I'll get a sharper pair of scissors. Don't pierce any holes into your paper pages. We can carefully lift out about maybe 3 pages. This one here, see how it's not just going to pull out like that one did? It's actually glued here. You've actually got to come along and very carefully, just as if you're ripping it, holding the 2 pages together like that in your left hand, brace the book in your right hand, and just very gently rip it down. It's only got that tiny little bit of glue holding it there, and then rip it out, and that will keep that page intact. But it's not only got the stitch line down there, it's just got that tiny bit of glue on it as well. And it's the same through the whole book. So you've got to break the stitches and then find the center, take away 1, 2, 3 pages. Once you've taken away those 3 pages, see how this one here is stuck together? See this here, I can lay it flat, but this one here I can't. It's stuck together. But if I go like that, it'll free itself and that glue will release. So that last page of the signature, you need to break that glue. So that is how you take apart your Edith Holden or any other book that you want to use to make it into another junk journal, to recycle any of the pages or use them to make anything that you like. It's not that difficult to do if you take your time. So if you have any questions about how to take the book you have apart, just leave me a comment below and I answer every comment that is left on my videos. it might be 24 to 48 hours, depending, because of the time zones, but I get back to everybody's comments. I'm Donna, thanks for watching, and bye for now.